I'm working with Polanski, I'm working with Coppola, I'm working with Michael Mann, and so on and so forth, and they have these stories that they wanna tell, and, there are, of course, women in the stories, but if you look at a movie like Heat, it's very male-oriented, and yeah, so you just have to go with the script and go with your instincts. If you can change a role, you should, because it's fun and it's rewarding.
Good day, Bonnie Timmerman, legendary casting director. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm good.
I
I'm in Quebec,
ooh,
and it is extremely warm for Canada, I can tell you.
are you a person that so my wife is from North Dakota and she's loves the cold. Do you have favorite of hot, cold, any sort of
I'm a winter baby,
okay.
so I do the cold, but it gets very cold here in
Yeah.
Quebec and, of course, in New York as well. But I guess I like the different temperatures. It's different, like, when you're in LA, it's the same
Right,
everything.
over and over.
Yeah. Where you been?
I'm in Washington, DC, so a
Okay.
bit milder. I would prefer Miami. I'm heat all day long. Not really a cold
Miami's
guy.
hot. It's hot, 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 hot.
I
Mm.
was thinking when I was introducing you, Bonnie, you've cast most of the major actors, the 21st century, anybody you can think of. And I was just wondering when you speak, you've earned all of that. But can you tell when somebody came into a room and they were just blowing smoke for it, being Bonnie, you're so amazing, Bonnie? How did you react to that kind of talk? Or did people just go in there to try to play as straight as possible
Well,
type of thing?
I'm just like they are, and I think that they see that.
Yeah,
There's no pretension or anything else, and I am the same person that they are sitting opposite me, and I like that to be the case always, no matter who's walking into my room.
that's amazing. I think that's a rare quality. So, how did you know you had a gift for casting? Was there one particular moment or a person that you cast that you thought, "Wow, this means to" you proved to yourself that you were great at it?
Oh, in the very beginning, very early on in my career, I had a job in a theater. It was called the Phoenix Theater, and my office was in the basement of the Lyceum Theater. I really wasn't even sure what a casting director was. I just thought, "Dive in here." One of the first shows that I worked on was a show called Uncommon Women and Others, and it was by a writer named Wendy Wasserstein. She was very well known in the theater, the public theater, and also the Phoenix Theater, and I had many other unknown actresses, including Meryl Streep,
Oh my god.
Glenn Close, Sigourney Weaver, many other actors who were in the cast, and I thought, I'll tell you their names: Swoosie Kurtz, Jill Eikenberry, an actress by the name of Alma Cuervo, and Sigourney Weaver was in there somewhere, and right from the opening night of the play, I knew there was something very special on stage, and I was a part of it. And then as a result of the reviews of the show, PBS put on a production, and we got to see that show every year. It was on every, I think, Christmas with great actors. So I think that's really when I understood how important casting was and how to put people together. So, it was pretty early on in the beginning.
That's so incredible, Bonnie. Do you attribute that to you just something that you see? Is it something you could teach someone? So if I had came over and you said, "Ben, I'm gonna teach you to be a great casting director," can you teach this skill?
I think that a lot of people who've worked for me have gone on to cast. So, between all of us, we've done thousands of
That's
movies,
so
and yes, I think that there's a way to understand the actor in my room, which and what I do, which is, I think, different from what other casting directors do, and I say, "Learn from me if you can." Do it your own way, of course, but take anything you can and sit in the room with me and listen to me and take what you can from me. Yes, I think it can be learned, but I think for me, I was able to do it on my own. I created my own casting sense, I
that
think. Yeah.
that's so incredible. So there was a recent documentary made about you, Bonnie. My wife and I watched, and we were just enthralled by it. Just like I said, almost every actor that you've heard of was in it, and they talked about just the type of effect you've had on their career and just so many great things. And I really love the way that it was shot, showing your personal life and how that intertwined with casting. Just tremendous. What was that like watching in a theater with your colleagues? And was there anything in there that you thought that somehow the documentary missed?
Okay. So
Yeah,
I think we went to Venice with the documentary, and it
yeah.
was the first time I had seen it. I was happy and surprised, and when people applauded afterwards, I think th my hair stood up. I think that I was extremely I thought, "Okay, this is what it's like to be applauded." It's pretty fantastic, and you know why actors look for applause. In terms of other people mentioned this, and that is they would have liked to have seen more of my personal
Yeah.
story in order to understand if there was anything in my background that may have helped me in my career, but I think that's the thing that some people said.
Do you think that your personal background helped you in your career?
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
think yes, very much. I think I'm an emotional person, I'm terribly sensitive,
yeah.
can be funny at times. I think humor helps you always. So, yes, I think the darkest side of me helped me to see the darkest and the lightest sides of actors, if that makes sense to you.
It does. When you say the darker side, what do you mean by that, Bonnie?
I say that nobody gets away scot-free. We all have our ups and downs and good times and bad times. I had my share of good times and bad times, and I used that to understand myself and other people sitting in my room because they get very nervous
Right.
coming into my room, and I'm probably more nervous than they are. So, for sure. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
You
that's
are. One of the thing I can tell just from talking with you for the 5, 10 minutes here is that you genuinely listen, and I think that's a rare quality. I think most people are thinking about whatever they're gonna say next. Even in an interview, you're listening to the question. I can tell you're not already contemplating an answer already and thinking about talking. And I think that must be rare, and that quality alone must have helped you as people felt, like, heard by you.
oh, yeah. I think you have to listen
Yeah.
both as a director, a casting director, and an actor. You've got to listen. That's the key, actually, to performing is listening to what the director says or
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's a ton of issues in casting right now, and I can't wait to talk with you about them. One of them is the idea of representation. This idea, I talked to Russian Sethi, who directed Nice Indian Boy. He talked about casting for gay roles. I watched a movie as Come As You Are, where it was abled people playing disabled people, and that was a controversy. What's your personal philosophy on that? Do you have thoughts on how you should cast regarding representation?
Straight or gay shouldn't really matter. It's straight actors. If straight actors can't play gay parts, does that mean that gay actors can't play straight parts? As the documentary points out, I always look for the best actor for the part, restricted by physical description. One of the movies that I cast was called Last of the Mohicans. And I can swear to you that I was collecting passports. I wanted to make sure that they were natives because people in that group, historically, they've been excluded.
Right.
So, yes, I could answer in those terms for you.
So, is it when a director mandated that? Is that sort of something that maybe, like, say, "I only want gay actors to play this type of thing"? Is that where you think it might come from? And then that's out of your
I
hands at
don't
that
know
point?
those directors,
Yeah.
Ben. I don't know them. I don't think I'm gonna be working for directors who say stuff like that. I would like to just use the best actor around. That's what I'd like to do, but there are times when directors say, "I would like you to use this person or that person," and I would honor that if they wanted somebody specifically, then I would honor that and work around that, but as my own rules in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does that work, Bonnie? So if I'm a director and I come to you, because 'cause you've worked with fantastic directors, and I
Yes.
come to you, how do you make that choice of whether to work with a director or not?
Oh, I used to say, and it was true, "If you find me, I'm yours." Because I
Ah,
would never list myself in a phone book or one of those books where you can find people. I just would never do that, and u usually, unless there was a script that I didn't understand or I couldn't see actors walking around in my head, then maybe I wouldn't do it, but pretty much if the director was seeking me out, I'd probably say yes. I don't
and
know why, but
probably
I think it's a good idea.
And probably off the recommendations of other people, right? You probably haven't taken very many directors just, like you said, off the phone book. It probably came through, "Hey, Bonnie, a trusted friend. Here's somebody that I think you would work well with," type of thing.
I think it's more magic when somebody has a project and they come to you. I look back on some of the movies and think how lucky I was to be able to work with these people, whether they be known or not known.
And just a sheer number of fantastic films that you've been a part of is just tremendous. I was watching Man on Fire the other day, and I just thought, there's Bonnie's name. I mean, you can't watch a movie, I don't think, in the last if you took 20 movies randomly in the last 30 years, I bet at least 5 of those you cast. It's just amazing. Just the throughput. What were the hours that you were working at during that time frame, Bonnie? I'm sure it was 60, 70 hours.
24/7.
Yeah.
I just, worked a lot. I because I was actually either the theater or casting Miami Vice or Crime Story. Those are hard jobs, and you owe it, and something on Miami Vice was that I was in charge in New York in my own office with my own editing and my own choosing of actors, and the producers were in Miami, and Michael Mann was in California. So I had a big responsibility, and I wound up doing all that casting, working hard and finding people on the stage to put in television because TV seemed to me far away from my sensibility. I think we're not all blonde and blue-eyed and the way we're short or heavy or whatever. So I tried to put actors in the television shows because I had control. I tried to put them in television to get them out there in the world, and I did. A lot of wonderful actors on Miami Vice.
And in the documentary, they talk about finding you in the back of a theater, scouting out actors. And one of the things when I was watching, wondered about, and you also were quoted as saying you want to be in person. So you want to have casting sessions in person. And you're casting for a lot of times TV, films. How does that translate? Can you tell when somebody's gonna be able to translate in-person energy to the camera? Did it work sometimes vice versa, where they had a great in-person energy and you watched them on film and you were like, "What happened to it?" How
Yeah.
did that translate?
I think seeing is believing.
Yeah.
So I would see theater or film or television and think this person fits my description. And then I could talk to them in the office if they were not in New York. We had offices in LA and in Miami, so we could get some of the people if the directors or the producers were, "Oh, how are we gonna get to meet these people before?" Then you could always bring them in to LA or Miami. But pretty much I ruled that casting in for Miami Vice. Michael Mann just said, "Listen to what she's saying," and as a result, I think we were able to get really good people because there were no producers or anybody there saying, "Nah, I don't like that person." I would just know how good they are, and so I was strong and lucky to do that, to be able to have somebody like Michael Mann trust me. That was important, and I wasn't gonna let him down.
And I'm sure that's one of those recommendations you would make to directors is to put out that you trust the casting director. Imagine if people saw room between you and the director in terms of casting, they may feel like they have more room to complain or more room to say something, but they knew that Michael Mann trusted you, so they weren't gonna say was that a part of it, do you think?
I certainly would ask them what they thought and treat them with as much respect
Of
as
course.
I could muster. You don't wanna alienate anybody.
No, of
Uh,
course.
and especially so many actors and directors became big stars and are doing not just acting, but they're directing and they're making movies. Their careers have gone in different directions. So I'm very proud of that to see them. Take somebody like Ethan Hawke. Ethan
Amazing.
is directing and he's writing and he's starring.
On Broadway,
Pretty
yeah.
Yeah, he's doing documentaries, but when you first see somebody, you love them and wanna nurture them and take care of them, but at the same time, you don't know what's gonna happen in their lives. You don't know if there's gonna be happiness or tragedy, you just don't know. You have to be lucky.
So, Bonnie, in independent film now, and I'm sure it's always been this way, but I hear from directors getting held up because they want a name as part of, and directors are now looking to YouTube, they're looking to TikTok, looking to influencers
Right.
for their actors, and some of these are not actors, they're influencers. So how do you feel about that? Do you look for the follower count as part of how you judge people? How do you think directors should look at that in terms of talent
And
and
I don't
casting based
look at
on.
them.
Yeah,
I don't look that's far from the way I'll go to the theater or I'll look at TV, television shows, film, I'll meet people, I'll see people, but I don't look at the tick-tock of it all. I just don't have interest in that. If somebody emerges out of that world and I can see it, then I could say, "Yeah, let me bring you in for what I'm doing," but I don't usually. And I don't suggest that other people do it either, and I'm sure there are a lot of casting people that look everywhere, but I
right.
that's an area I don't look in.
That's fascinating. And when you talk with other casting directors, do you feel they're pressured by that? Like they're told to like cast people with a big social media influence, or is
I
that part
think
of it?
that every movie that you work on needs names
Yeah,
in order for people to come and see
to
it,
go. Right.
for audiences, so I understand that. When I see these movies with huge stars, I think, I understand why. It's just part of where we are today in film and also stage. I think you have to have a big name to do a play.
Yeah. And are you proud, Bonnie, of casting people who didn't have a name before you cast them? What is that experience like?
It's great if you can look back so many years later and see, just like what I said, like Ethan or Vigo or Benicio become very successful. So it is prideful, and it makes me happy and it makes me prideful.
Love that, Bonnie. So in the film, they had a conversation where they talked about how much you're great at casting men, and it made me wonder how you see. I love that part.
That
And it
was
made me what
Sigourney
and
or
it made me want
somebody.
I think it was Sigourney Weaver. And it made me wonder how you see the difference between casting men and women.
When I was doing a movie for Michael Mann called Black Hat, there was a part of a man, an officer, a detective, and he was an Italian detective, and I said, "What would happen if we used Viola Davis for that role?" And Michael said, and he says it in the documentaries, "I always wanted to work with an actress like that, so yeah, it's a good idea." Yeah. That's one example of my saying men male actors should change to be female actors or female actors could be male actors, and I'm sure that I put 2 actors in one role because they worked together or I saw something in them that they could add something to the movie or
Movie, yeah.
television show. Does that make sense? Am I
Yeah,
explaining?
it does.
Yeah,
It's just interesting that Sigourney and others talked about how casting men.
male.
Is that something that's rare for a female casting men to do it?
I think it's the scripts and
Yeah,
the directors. I'm working with Polanski, I'm working with Coppola, I'm working with Michael Mann, and so on and so forth, and they have these stories that they wanna tell, and, there are, of course, women in the stories, but if you look at a movie like Heat, it's very male-oriented, and yeah, so you just have to go with the script and go with your instincts. If you can change a role, you should because it's fun. and it's rewarding. So
Amazing. You don't have to use names, Bonnie, but was there anyone that you think that you wish you would have cast and you didn't cast? Do you view when somebody as wrong for in terms of just in general, or do you view when you don't cast somebody just they're wrong for this particular part, but they could be maybe right for something down the road? Was there something like that that you think, gosh, I wish I would have done?
oh, I think so, yes. I think that I've read actors and thought, "Oh gosh, you're maybe not right for this part. You're
Right,
too tall, too short. Your coloring is different from where we are located or
right.
and but I would like to consider you for something else." Yes, I've done that quite often.
And I guess the response for the actor should just be staying positive. How are actors supposed to go through rejection after rejection? Is that something that you saw actors that couldn't handle that sort of mental stress associated with it?
I boy, I just try to if somebody is really not right and
Yeah,
I don't wanna keep them on the hook, I might say, "Listen, you're too young." There is an example. I was casting a film for Ridley Scott, and he wanted very big, strong military guys, and I really thought that there was this actor, Ben Foster, who
mm,
wasn't very big. He's a lot bigger now than he was. He was thin,
right.
small guy, and I brought him in and I said, "Oh, you're a little too small for this character. We need huge guys." He said, "Could you just give me a month? Just give
Wow.
me a month." And I said, "Yeah, we're gonna give you a month. Sure. You're the kind of actor that I would give whatever you needed. I'm here." So a month later, he comes in and he's Popeye the Sailor. He's got muscles on muscles, and
Oh,
he
wow.
looks fantastic. So I bring him in for Ridley. He gets the part, and then he breaks his arm on the set, and he loses the job. But he
No.
got it, and he did what he did. So, yes, there are times that you don't want actors to think, "Oh, I'm gonna get this," and then they don't, and they wait. So I try to, if I can, be as honest, but a lot of the times I like to hold on to people, and I'll
Yeah.
call them every week. I'll have my assistant call them every week and say, "Are you still available? Are you still available?" So I don't lose them to another movie or something like that.
Do
Yeah.
you feel most casting directors do that? That's why you had so many people in the documentary be able to speak warmly about you. You stayed in touch, you helped nurture them. Is that rare for casting directors to feel like they're nurturing actors?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think everyone's different, but
Yeah,
I think casting directors, both male and female, s a good majority of them, because I don't know them all,
right.
nurture, and that's how you pull good work out of them because you're really the first director. You're directing the actor on film yourself, and you wanna get the best out of them so that when your director sees their work, that they get a really good shot. There were times where I would put together my office as if it were a set, and they would feel like they were in the scene. So maybe for 5 or 10 minutes, they were in heat or they were in the inside or whatever. So I kinda liked doing that. I think it made actors who are fairly well known feel more comfortable.
That's amazing, Bonnie. So in the documentary, it showed you having a warm moment with Brian Cox. Brian Cox, of course, had what a great breakout over the past few
Yeah.
years for him. And with Succession, did it surprise you that so many of the actors who are playing Americans are British? How do you cast accents? Because it's something that you ask them to show me different accents. Could they say similar to Ben Foster, check back with me in 30 days and I'll learn German or whatever it is? Did the accent thing surprise
Well,
you about Succession? Yeah.
that's a couple of questions, so let me try to answer. The
Sorry
first
about
question to answer for his show, for Brian's show, is that I think Australian and British are very good with accents, hands down. So it's a given that they know how to do it, but I suppose you're gonna go and see Shakespeare or theater or
Right.
watch something on BBS where you see these actors and you know that they can do American accents. For those that need time, I just worked with Tim Roth, and he was supposed to play an accent from Staten Island, and we offered him the role very late in the day. So he said, Would you be okay before I say yes if I could do it in my own accent?" And the director said, "Yeah, be great. Do it in your own accent. We'll make up whatever." So there are actors that need time to prepare. So you want to give that to them. Or if you don't have the time, then say thank you and next time.
And why do you think Americans aren't as great at playing with accents?
I don't compare them, but I think that British and Australian actors are really good at it. I'm not saying Americans
Aren't.
aren't. You look at actors like Kevin Kline who can do any accent. There's so many fantastic American actors that can do good accents, but I think generally Australians and British train themselves to be able to do many accents. That's all I'm trying to say.
And Bonnie, if you had one piece of advice you could give directors now when it comes to casting, what would it be?
Listen to me? No, that wouldn't be it. I would just say go with your heart. If you meet a casting director or a DP or and you like them and you feel that they're simpatico with you, go with them and hopefully you'll take their advice. It's up to you, the director, to make that choice, I would have to say.
So amazing, Bonnie. So you mentioned you're in Montreal. Can you talk
I'm in
any
Quebec.
you're in
Um,
Quebec.
I'm in French Canada. We have a house here when there was the pandemic, we were my husband and I were living in a 17-floor building with
Wow.
2 little elevators, and we got really afraid of getting sick, and we had this house, so we ran up here. We have acreage, and it's beautiful. It's storybook time.
Are
Um,
you still involved in casting?
I am. I just finished doing a movie called Roof Man for Derek
Okay.
Cianfrance. It's going to Toronto with Channing Tatum and some really wonderful actors. And I just finished casting a movie called The Very Best People. Yes, I am. And I'm about to do some more casting. So I'm not never going to give up on casting. I feel like that leads me to all roads. It helps me. I'm producing films and which is which comes from the castings. I have several movies coming up, 3 that I'm gonna produce, and 3 that I will cast and produce, so I'm really busy and happy.
Is it so, Bonnie, looking back on your storied career, is there anything that you think has happened positively? Is it in terms of, say, digital, like, we're doing things more online now that you think are positive? And then on the negative side, is there anything that you wish you could go back to and be like, "Man, I wish it was more like this from 20 years ago," or something like that?
I think 2 things. One, that I wish we could go back, I'll say that right away because it was warmer and you could buy people pizza and Chinese food and stuff like that, and coffee. And then on another hand, we were in such trouble with this horrible disease pandemic,
Yeah.
and we pulled out of it, and we're doing this. And so you can talk to people all over the world, and that's a miracle. Do I wish we could be closer? Yes. So when I do things, I try to do both. I try to reach out to people who can't come to me, and then also bring people in for meetings, lunches, dinners, drinks, work with the director in person. Yeah.
I love that so much. So, this is an indie film podcast, love hyping other people's projects. This is how I found out about you when Amanda Stairs
Oh, yeah.
recommended you. Is there a filmmaker or film that you wish more people knew about?
This last person that Derek is well known,
Yeah.
so Michael Mann is well
Of
known.
cour
But the guy I just worked with, Brian Swibel, um, I think he's fascinating and poetic, and he has this movie coming out. Unfortunately, he's locked in editing,
I bet.
getting something together for Toronto, but I think there's something about him that at first I said no to him a few times, and then I said yes, and I was really happy that I did. So he'd be somebody to talk to. He's worked, he's done short films, and I like him. He's honest and open and vulnerable and talented. Yeah.
Casting director Bonnie Timmerman, this has been so amazing. I love the film. Go check it out. It's just a
Thank
fantastic exploration of your life and just how much positivity and how much great films you have brought to the world. This is tremendous, and I'm so grateful for you to take some time out of your day to chat with me for the podcast.
I was very happy, and I thank you very much for the kind words. Thank you.